You ever hear a sound you just can't forget? I have. For me, it was the snap of my wife's arm, clear as day, right there on our driveway. And you're not going to believe what came after. Two people, uniforms, and all showed up out of nowhere demanding money for violations we'd never even heard of. When Becky, my wife, stubborn as a pit bull, started asking questions, this guy just grabbed her arm and broke it like he was shelling a peanut. I was standing there in total shock, feeling useless and small, and then, man, things got real dark real fast. These so-called officials started rattling off details about our family stuff nobody outside our house should know. That's when I realized this wasn't some random shakedown, this was personal. What I didn't realize, calling my biker cousin was about to turn this whole nightmare upside down. Let me back up a second. I'm Adam Rogers, 42. The most boring guy. I write code for a living, work from home, have a nice setup in Riverside Meadows, the subdivision Becky and I chose after we got sick of HOA craziness at our last place. No board, no busybodies, no one telling me my mailbox isn't regulation taupe. So when these two turn up on a Saturday morning, flashing fake IDs and looking official, every alarm bell in my head starts ringing. The woman's got that corporate compliance look pressed, blazer badge clipboard. Megan Garcia, she says. The guy's built like an NFL linebacker named Travis, and he's got on one of those vests with the shiny stripes that just screams, "Don't mess with me." But it's his eyes cold mean like he's looking for someone to hurt. Megan starts reading off violations like she's at a grocery store. Landscaping non-compliance property infractions, failure to submit architectural review forms. She says we owe $850 in fines due immediately. I tell her there's no HOA here, never has been. I've got the deed to prove it, but she just gives me that smug smile, the one people use when they think you're too dumb to know better. Sir, your ignorance doesn't exempt you from compliance. That's when Becky steps in, all 5'4" of her tough as nails, ER nurse who's seen everything. Nothing rattles her. She pulls out her phone to take pictures of their documents, probably thinking the same thing I was: document everything, catch the scam. Only Travis, he's not having it. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to put that phone away," he says, stepping right into her space. Becky tells him exactly where he can shove his request with language I'd probably get banned for repeating. But when she tries to step around him for a better look, Travis grabs her wrist. Professional technique, not for restraint, but to send a message. He twists her arm, keeps twisting, then that sickening crack. Becky goes down, clutching her arm, and even with all her training, she lets out a scream I'll never forget. I'm down there with her, my feet tearing up on the gravel, blood boiling. Her bones displaced, pushing up under the skin. She's in shock face, white as a sheet. And while I'm kneeling there calling 911 with my hands shaking, Megan just says, "Sometimes people need to understand the consequences of non-compliance." Cold as ice. Then she starts dropping personal details she shouldn't know about Becky's work schedule, about me working from home. Information you don't just Google. The ambulance gets there. Becky's got a displaced radius fracture, needs surgery, 8 weeks in a cast. And all I can think is, who the hell are these people? Who's feeding them this info? Now here's where most folks would call the police and pray for justice. But my family's got Jake. Cousin Jake, president of the Iron Brotherhood Motorcycle Club, guy you want on your side when things go sideways. I call him from the hospital parking lot, try to keep my voice steady. There's a long silence. Then Jake goes, "Nobody breaks family bones," and walks free. We'll make them afraid to sleep. 20 minutes later, he rolls up with 2 prospects, leather cuts and all. Jake's not just a biker. He runs legit businesses, construction, security, knows the difference between real authority and a scam. He looks at the fake documents, then at me. Someone's using inside info to target you. This ain't random. This is war. The Brotherhood starts tailing Megan and Travis, nothing violent, just a bunch of Harleys always in their rear view parking at the grocery store, gas station, you name it. Psychological warfare, and it works. But Megan, she's not done. She calls me that night, got my number from God knows where, and threatens Becky's other arm if we don't back off. How'd she get my number? Not listed anywhere. She knew details about client schedules. Someone's been digging deep. Sunday, while Becky's out cold on pain meds, I do what any decent nerd does when he's scared. I start digging. Databases, city records, state filings, nothing on the Riverside Community Standards Authority, nothing on Megan or Travis. Then Jake brings in their tech guy, ex-military intelligence hacker, with a laptop that probably costs more than my truck. Within an hour, he's got more on Megan than the IRS, multiple aliases, fake businesses, financials that don't match. And get this, someone's been downloading employee databases from my old company. It's not just me. They've been targeting tech and healthcare families all over. Suddenly, my clients are getting calls too, threats, investigations, pressure to drop me. Details only someone with inside access could know. My reputation, my business, it's all under attack. The Brotherhood's tech guy catches an active hacking attempt on my systems. IP trace leads back to a big city data center home to government contractors. Not some teenager in a basement. Megan's crew left digital breadcrumbs that tie straight back to her email accounts, server logs, everything. She's got resources, she's got help on the inside, and she's got a grudge. Jake sets a trap, arranges a fake business meeting at an abandoned warehouse, leaks it through the right channels. Travis shows up expecting to rough someone up. Walks into a room with a dozen bikers, exits, covered, every move watched. Jake doesn't lay a finger on him, just leans in and starts asking questions. Travis folds fast. Turns out they've been running the fake HOA scam in 4 counties, targeting people who changed jobs recently who had reported workplace harassment. They're working off stolen HR databases. And Megan, real name Jane Miller, she's not just some scam artist. She used to be my supervisor, the one I reported for harassment 2 years ago, who got fired because I documented every nasty thing she did. Suddenly it all makes sense how she knew Becky's schedule, my client list, even my new address. She had inside contacts feeding her info, even after she was gone. She built a network, fake enforcement teams, forged documents, corrupt officials. Every family she targeted had a history of standing up to workplace abuse. She'd made it a business, a vendetta built on destroying whistleblowers. But she made one fatal mistake. She came after my family. Jake's Club brings in the feds. When you threaten federal witnesses and hack government databases, people pay attention. By the end of the week, Jane's entire operation's getting torn down, bank accounts, frozen shell companies, dissolved associates arrested. Turns out the Iron Brotherhood was already working with law enforcement. They just needed Jane to show her hand. The media tries to spin it as biker gang bullies businesswoman, but the truth comes out fast. Jake in his business suit under a leather vest calmly hands reporters a pile of evidence fraud, racketeering, identity theft, federal witness intimidation. Jane tries to flip the story, goes on TV screaming about conspiracies, but the feds have been listening in for weeks. Every lie adds another charge. Her network collapses overnight. Her final move is pure desperation, threatens to expose Becky for negligence in a 10-year-old ER case. Turns out Travis, the guy who broke her arm, his grandma was the patient who didn't make it. Jane was going to use that to ruin Becky, file lawsuits, strip her license. But the feds already have everything, and medical experts clear Becky's name completely. Jane goes down hard. 30 years federal time, network dismantled. Hundreds of families finally get justice. 1 year later, I'm at a neighborhood barbecue watching Jake flip burgers while kids run around his bike. Federal agents laughing with neighbors. The snap of Becky's arm started this mess, but what I'll remember forever is the sound of our community laughter music life, echoing across a street that used to feel like a battlefield. You ever been targeted for doing the right thing? Ever have someone try to destroy your family over something you thought was behind you? Let me know down in the comments, because sometimes justice is a long road, but when it comes, it's worth every step. And hey, if you've ever dealt with fake authority, Drop your story below. Maybe it's time more people hear what really goes down behind those official badges.